Hello, my bullet journaling and reading friends. It's Dano, and today I'm very excited to start my 2025 reading journal with all of you. So, the first thing I'm doing is I'm sticking the first page together because it's just an annoying page that doesn't really work properly. And you'll notice in this, I flip around a hell of a lot. I don't do this chronologically. I go back and forth between pages. It just makes me feel good, but I was just not feeling some of the pages, so I skipped ahead, and some things were a bit easier. I am so sorry about my head in this. Obviously, I need to look over to see all the lines, but I didn't realize how much my head was actually in the way, and that's really embarrassing because I was clearly having a bad hair day. But anyway, let's get into this. So the first page I am setting up is my 2025 bookshelves to track my reads. So the idea with this one is I'm going to draw in little books as I read them. I'm most likely going to color code them based on month and just have a little spot to mark all the books that I read. So I just created a bookshelf for that. And then going in with some decoration after the fact just to ensure that I had enough space and everything. So my theme for 2023, geez, I wish. 2025 is my yearly pages are an Alice in Wonderland theme. So I got this washi tape from the washi tape shop. Absolutely love it. It is a 5-piece set. You can get a 2 and a 3 piece, I think, versions of them, but I got all 5. However, there is one tape that I don't use because personally I don't feel like it fits in with the rest of the tapes. So yes. Anyway, here's me just trying to think if I'm going to add another piece or not, but I don't believe I do. Not at this time anyway. And then, sorry about my really dirty jumper. Awkward. So from there, I'm just going in and lightly filling in the edge of the bookshelf just to give it a bit of colour. This is with my Tombow N95. I absolutely love this grey. It's such a pretty light grey colour. Really good for every second line highlights. So highly recommend if you're going to get a colour and start your stash that this be one of the starting colours that you do get if you're not getting a full set. I am so excited to start using this journal. I cannot wait to get back into having a proper reading journal. I created one for the end of 2024 and I've just been enjoying tracking my reading again. I sort of lost doing that a little bit, and so it's definitely been enjoyable coming back. So now I'm putting in the header. I created a bunch of headers using my Cricut and using some washi tape paper. It has definitely been a test to find the right cut sort of settings for the washi paper on the Cricut, but that's okay. And this is me trying to work out if I was calling it the right thing because I made these such a long time ago and then stupidly did not save the file in my Cricut. So now I've lost all the headings that I did make and I'm so pissed off at myself. But thankfully, I'm pretty sure I've got all the ones that I need I think I've got up until my February setup. Unless I sort of like change my mind or I am currently thinking about adding, I've got 2 more yearly ones that I want to make, so I'm still to record those pages, and so I probably need to go in and make some more, which is then going to be annoying because I'm going to have to measure what I've cut because I changed all the sizes of what was previously saved, so it's very painful that I didn't save that. I thought it would automatically saved and it didn't. The stupid thing. Anyway, so that is that page done and dusted. I am now going in with the second page, adding a little bit of paper. So I went to the op shop and got a old used edition of Alice in Wonderland. So I am adding a couple of pages from that, and I will throughout the journal. It's one that has some of the illustrated pictures in it, so I want to use some of those in bits to decorate, and just having a bit of fun with it. It's the first time I've sort of done this style of decorating. All my previous journals that I've ever tried to do, I've just gone in with pen and paper, so I'm hoping that this sort of excites me a little bit more and that I want to use my journal. And now I'm going in and creating a TBR takedown sort of spread. So this is so that I can track how many books are currently on my TBR, like my physical TBR, and trying to bring that number down each month. So I'm going in and creating a line for every month. I do go a little bit over the page, but you'll see soon it's not the worst mistake I make when making this journal. I was clearly in too much of a hurry for some of the pages and have learnt my lesson. So just going in and creating all those pages, trying to check twice, rule once, you know how that saying goes, kind of. Well, it's measure twice, cut once, but, you know, trying to change it up for it to work here. So yes, I've got one for each. I then go back in and just highlight the edge colours in a very pale blue, which that's sort of the theme for these colours to fit with the Alice in Wonderland theme is just blue and browns with the grey sort of highlights as well. And then just going in and naming all those. So I've got a column for start, so how many are on the list to begin with at the start of the month, how many I've bought, how many I've read, the end of the month, and the difference. So hopefully that tracks downwards and not upwards. I did think about after this, I was wanting to change up my writing font for this book, but obviously with these I didn't, because I totally forgot about it and just did my normal handwriting. My handwriting's pretty neat, but it's hard to read here just because it's obviously zoomed a little out, but I definitely do want to, for the future pages, just take my time with it and do a cleaner style writing. Anyway, now I'm going in and creating another bookshelf. I didn't have this one properly mapped out, so I was having to go in and do that as I go. But for this one, it's gonna just show any books that I've bought. So I'm only doing 2 shelves on this. Hopefully I don't buy any more than that. I have been pretty good this year I don't think I've actually bought a single book this year. And just really using my library as much as I can. There are definitely some books that I want to go in and buy because I've read them, I thoroughly enjoyed them, they're 5-star reads, and I really want to support the author. So those books I will go back and buy. But rather than buying books and then reading them and then may or may not enjoy them, I want to focus on just buying the 5-star reads and just prioritizing those. So only a small bookshelf. I actually don't remember if I go back in and, oh yes, I do the grey. Good. Otherwise I was going to have to leave a note to myself to go back and do that. But I do it, so it's fine. I am also filming this over a couple of days just because of how long it takes. If I was smart, I would have gone and tracked actually how long these pages all take, but I haven't done that, sorry. For future, I'll try and learn to do that. But yeah, just going in with the headers, trying to find them all. Because I was playing around with my cut settings on the Cricut, some of them definitely cut too thick. So I have a little baggie that you can't really see at the moment, but I'm spreading them all out to try and find the headers. Yes, it's very frustrating. But I'm absolutely loving the printing on the washi printing on washi paper, because it's not as thick as what normal sticker paper is. So, yes, this book will get thicker as you sort of add more and more things, but it won't get as thick as if you're doing sticker paper for all your headers and for your books. So I plan on continuing printing my book covers on the washi paper as well. It's a little bit see-through, but I don't mind it. It still picks up enough detail. Sorry for my blurring. That's annoying. It's like trying to focus but not doing a good job. So I feel like the washi paper does a good enough job. Wow, that blurring is so annoying. I need to turn off autofocus, clearly. Anyway. Okay, so for here, I am going in and creating some Dutch doors. Look, thinking back on this now, I'm not a fan of how I did this. I wish I had just cut the top and left the side, because I didn't leave myself a lot of room for decorating with this. I sort of tried to maximize my space, but it meant, like, when I look at the Dutch doors now, I'm not a fan of how it looks. So I wish I had just done the top, left enough room to properly decorate my head in the way. Sorry. That autofocus is so annoying. Oh, it's going to drive me insane. I'm going to try and work out how to turn that off before I continue filming. And yeah, so I wish I didn't do that side panel. I wish I just did the top. But this section is going to be for all the books that I read in 2025. So I'm going to print out a picture of the covers and stick them all down. At the moment, I'm just going in with a little bit of clear washi tape. This is just to reinforce that little part of the Dutch door that isn't stuck down. I did notice that some of my pages, there isn't a good last little connection, or like, I don't know what it's called, like binding. So the bottom of the pages is pretty loose because it's like missing that last stitch, which is a little bit frustrating, but I just wanted to reinforce the top there. And plus I'm going over with washi anyway, so it's going to be nice and reinforced. And how beautiful is this washi tape? I just got to take a moment to appreciate it. I love it. This is what I fell in love with. So I'm going all the way across the top with this to decorate it, so you see it on both sides. And yeah, it's just so pretty. The only thing I haven't done with this page is I haven't put a header on it yet. I don't know if I'm going to, because I don't know if it actually really needs it. It's something that I'll think about. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just trimming this down. This got so fiddly. Like, it was so annoying. Oh, sorry for my head. Oh, it's just going to be a common theme of my head. I was trying to find a way to cut this nicely, and it's not working. My scissors weren't working, so I just very carefully got the knife out and was following along the paper. The joys of the paper being so thick, you kind of can use it as a guide. Okay, so if you can't tell, my hair is red. Jesus. Anyway, so that is all done, and I guess sort of going with the side. So what I do after this is I go in and create little borders for the books, and this is where I stuff it up so badly. I kind of had everything mapped out, and I forgot that when I was mapping everything out, I gave myself 2 spaces above each book title before the next one, but when I go and draw them in, and you'll see it, I only give myself 1 space, and it stuffs everything up, and I'm so peeved with myself. So I'm going back in with that grey colour, because what I did find is I did this in my setups for the last part of this year, is I went in with black, but because I'm using the washi paper for book covers, you can see those black lines through the paper, so I'm just going in with grey, and so it's not as noticeable, but you can still see an outline, and it's definitely more clear in person than it is in this. So yes, this is another bit I regret going down with the white. I just don't feel like it's enough of a difference and contrast to make that little Dutch door stand out. I think I should have probably gone in with a blue, but it's too late now. I'm not going back and changing it, and there's no room at the top either for some headers. Oh, that autofocus. Need to turn that off. Anyway, So just putting down the washi, trying to decorate these pages a bit more. And then I go in with my pen, and this is where I start stuffing things up. So I had everything already sort of designed out on my computer, and then I got really cocky and wasn't referring back to it fully. And this is where I didn't realize that when I was designing this page, I actually allowed 2 spaces in between each book thing, whereas when I was drawing it on the page, I only did 1 space between. So it meant that there was a whole lot of extra room at the top where there shouldn't have been. And what's more frustrating is it wasn't a mistake I just did once. No, I stop on that side, I go up the other side, do the correct amount, and then when I come back in to do the next row, I copied the wrong side rather than the correct side, which is so frustrating. So as you can see here, I just did the wrong thing and then get annoyed at myself. I still haven't actually gone back and fixed this, so it's something that I intend to do, but I'll probably just do it when I am sticking the books down, just to kind of hide the mistake a bit more and hide the tape, and just put it all in under. But anyway, it's okay. These things happen, just like my head getting in the way of this view and the autofocus being on. These are things that I am slowly but surely learning, and I will get better at. One of them being is eventually getting a better setup where my head doesn't get in the way, but I don't know. Maybe it's just something I can't avoid with doing a top-down view, especially if I want a straight top-down view angle. But anyway, I will try. But this is pretty tedious, not gonna lie, drawing all these boxes in a row. I was thinking about just coming back to it, but I just sucked it up and got them all done because that's what needed to be done. So all the boxes for this page and the next spread as well. But once the books are in there, it's gonna look awesome. I can't wait to see it with all the pictures of the books. And I'm just excited to hopefully stick to this journal. I've been really bad in the past about sticking to journals, but I want to make a very conscious effort of sticking to it, filling it out, because it will just look really cool when it's all done. I do thankfully learn from my mistake on this side and don't stuff it up. But, you know, there's more things to come later on for mistakes, so we don't completely learn our lesson, but we get there with these boxes at least. So they are finally all done, and now I just go in and clean up the edges. Still need to get a corner cutter just to make everything clean. And this is where I stuff up again. I left this empty for my physical TBR, and I totally forget about doing that and have to do it later. Anyway. So this next spread is going to have my 5-star reads and my series tracker. Again, another thing in hindsight of I did not leave myself enough room on this series tracker. I thought that I was doing a good job and creating lots of room, but I've since worked out how many series I'm already in the middle of, and 2025 hasn't started, and I'm pretty sure I've filled this tracker already. So good job me. I'm gonna have to go in with a tip in and like add more to it, because it's definitely not going to be enough. And like, as you'll see with other videos, I have a lot of new series on my TBR list, so I've got even more to write on there. So I don't know, maybe I just don't write the ones that I know I'm going to finish in 2025, but then I'm like, that's so sad, I want to be able to see those. So yeah, I'm going to have to add a page because it's definitely not enough, but I don't really want to have it at the end of all these spreads. Like, I want it with the other series. So yeah, just that's definitely a lesson for next time. Make sure I leave enough series things, because I do read a lot of series. And yes, anyway, I'm just going in and doing...
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, Siri. No. I'm setting all my devices off. Going in and just trying to do a new sort of style and doubling up the washi for the bottom of this one. Again, that's a few rows I could have actually used in my series tracker, but that's okay. Then I'm going in with the every second highlight in the blue. I've got a section down the bottom for longer series, so these are ones that have more than 5 books, so I think I allowed 13 from memory. So I've just got one vertical line over on the left hand side for when I've completed the series, and then doing a whole lot for all the different ones in the series. And then I am also going to, above that, create some smaller ones where there's only 5 in the series, or 5 or less. So I'm just going in and creating the headers at the moment. So I have a tick, I have title, and then I have the numbers from 1 to 13 going backwards, just so that if there's only 10 in the series, all the ones still start at the same point. That way you don't have to kind of squish them in if they release a new one or anything like that. But I guess, yeah, it's more if there is any that happen to have more than 13 and I need to add an extra column. Otherwise I could have really done it the other way, but that's neither here nor there. So above that, I've got 2 columns of series that have 5 or less in the series. So yeah, I like the look of this spread. I've seen lots and lots of different series tracker options. This is just the one that I went with because I thought it would give me the most amount of information on the one page. Little did I know that I needed a double page spread. But again, lessons learned. So going in and just creating those headers, or little headers for those 2, and then going in with the actual page header from the ones that I printed. And struggling big time to try and pick them up. I don't know why, as soon as I have nails I just struggle so badly. So finally getting it. And then we're moving on to my 5-star reads. So this is just a simple spread of a whole bunch of boxes again, same design as before. And I must have put my pen down and then forgotten what colour I was using. But anyway, trying to remember actually to count the correct amount this time. And I still managed to stuff it up. I don't actually know if I noticed my stuff up, but I certainly noticed it then. There is one that doesn't have enough in between. No, I must have fixed it up. I can see the double line. Just so frustrating. It's just one of those things because it's so many of them. It's just such an easy, simple mistake. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. But it doesn't take too long to set up this spread. It's nice and easy. And then I think this is actually where I finish it up for the day and come back another day to keep working on it. And welcome technically to the next day where I come back in and finish this page because apparently I just stopped in the middle of the setup. I don't know why. Maybe I had a student come in or something like that. Anyway, I'm just going in and putting the heading for the 5-star reads. So the only downside to doing all these in the silhouette is definitely how the words are separated. Because I'm using washi paper, I can't use transfer paper as per normal because otherwise all the ink will come off the washi. So yeah, it is a little bit of a downside trying to work out how to spread them out, but that's okay, living and learning. Anyway, the next page that I set up is by far one of the most intricate and one that I definitely had to follow along with my plan, and that is my book bracket. So for this one, it's where the top book for every month gets selected to go into battle. Sorry, am I calling it a book battle or book bracket? I can't remember. Anyway, it gets selected to go to battle the following month. So January's top book will compete against February's top book. And where's your computer? And that's how the top book of the year is then picked. So January, February compete, March and April compete. Then the winner from those two, will compete against each other. So the winner of that one will then compete against the winner from March and April. And it keeps going until you get to the top 3, and then the top 3 battle it out for first place. I like the idea of this. However, it is a very flawed system because if you have a really good reading month where you read 2 or 3 absolutely fantastic 5-star reads, and then the next month have a crappy reading system where you don't read any 5 stars, it means that the best books of the year aren't actually going up against each other. So I'm doing 2 versions of this. I'm doing the book bracket because it's fun and I just like the look of them when they're done, and having all the pictures there of the books looks amazing. But I'm also doing a matrix, which I'm waiting until I get to the end of the year, and then it is my top 10 books of the year, regardless of when I read them, will all battle it out against each other to see the actual order of the books. So the book bracket works out the best book of the year, and theoretically they should be the same for the book bracket and the matrix, but the matrix will tell you the order of all the books that you read. So it may include books that aren't in the matrix because of the fact that they were also read in the same month as another book. So it will give me completely different data, but I'm excited to see both of them. Obviously, one is more exciting and colourful than the other, so yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Should make a little bit more sense when you start to see the matrix get set up as well. So anyway, that's what I'm doing now. I'm just drawing in the boxes for the matrix, counting it all out. So down the bottom will be numbers 1 to 10, and then it goes up like a staircase. So obviously 10 doesn't compete against 10, but 10 competes against 9, and then whoever wins, you put that number in the middle, and then you go down to the very bottom will be the totals section of how many times that book won, I guess. And that way you sort of work out the ranking. So it'll be in order of who got the most amount of votes overall, and then second and third. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. I'll certainly go through it again when I am filling it out at the end of the year. But now I'm just going in with my headers. The other thing that was kind of annoying is I've seen a lot of people like using the square planners, and this fits really nicely in the square planners, but it doesn't quite fit in any sort of rectangle unless I really want to squish it up, which I didn't. So I sort of had them over the two spreads, sort of with the book battle going over a bit, but it sort of works. The shape of it works. So yeah, and I'm just putting that header in and then putting a bit more washi down, and then I do go back in and put a header for the key, which is where I'll write what all the books are. So just going in with the numbers here for the key. I probably could have done with putting this down a little bit lower, but that's okay. And then moving, oh no, I go in and put the numbers in. Okay, next up, that page does not want to sit nicely. It's one of the middle ones where they're sort of, or the edge ones where they're glued together a bit, so it just does not sit nicely, which is a shame. So next up is another page that I do stuff up a bit, but this is my new releases setup, and the aim for this one is to write down all the new releases for the year, as well as there is room for next year as well. And also I did a box for like a wish list of books that are already out that I don't own, just because I sort of figure like my new releases is also my wish list, because obviously if I like them and want them, then I want to buy them too. So yeah, that's why I left myself room for a backlist sort of to buy sort of section as well. But anyway, I'm just going in, creating all the boxes, having a grand old time. So this is where you can see one of my stuff-ups. I wasn't meant to put that edge in the middle. I was meant to have two long boxes, but I kind of forgot about that and went in with it. I am really loving this mega wide washi. It is so cool. I love it. I will definitely be purchasing more from the washi tape shop. Yeah, the washi tape shop. It's just such nice quality. So I hope they do come out with more cohesive designs. They have a lot of ones that are sort of just on their own, but I would love it if they had more sets like this. So hopefully they do. And now I'm just cutting out one of the images from my Alice in Wonderland book and regretting cutting it with a Stanley knife because it created such a harsh edge. So then I go back in with scissors, and it would have been easier if I just did that from the first place and could have made it look so much nicer. But anyway, just going in with some tape and putting that down and then putting in the header. So this is my 25 new releases. I then do have headers for each of the months, which I change how I want to lay them out. I was originally going to go January, February, March, and then go down for April, May, and June, and that is how I do start to set it up. However, I then... Oh wait, no, I must have gone the other way around. Yeah, other way around. So I was originally going to go this way and then decide, no, I actually want to go down the page and then over. So the reason why, because of those two longer columns, it just made more sense to me to do it that way. Because if I had kept going with the straight across and then down, I would have wanted to put October next to September instead of being the backlist wish list. So I do go and change my mind eventually. To be setting up my book club pages. So at the moment I'm planning on being in 2 book clubs, potentially going to add more, but we'll see how I feel. So the first one is the Boudreaux Buddies book club. This is run by Jashi Corinne and her friends Rachel and Monica, and so they have a book club that picks a book for each month, and the January book is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, I'm pretty sure. And I'm just creating a space to put in a sticker for each month. So you'll see that I eventually create 12 squares and then put the little header. I'm just trying to work out how much space all that needs right now. As I'm doing it, you can see I tried to plan all this, but when you just put pen to paper what I saw on the computer when I was pre-planning all this just doesn't always line up. But now that I have the sizes for all my headings and things like that, it will make it a lot easier for future layouts to be able to plan it all. And obviously, I sort of have a rough idea of how big to make things or what works and everything. So I'm looking forward to being able to do this a little bit easier in the end of 2025 going into 2026. But anyway, and then the second book club I'm looking at participating in is the Catch Up Book Club, and this is hosted by Becca and the Book, and this is a bi-monthly book club where you read one book over 2 months. So we're starting, now I can't remember what the series is called, but the first book is Malice by John Gwynne, and they are some thick books in that series. So that's hence why all the books in that book club you have 2 months to read. And the idea behind the book club is it's just catching up on those iconic series. So other ones that they've done that I'm sad that I missed were the Robin Hobbs books and things like that. So I'll see how I go with these. My problem is I am struggling to get these from any library. So my library only has Malice. It doesn't have any of the subsequent books in it. And even my online library that I use, it's months until my hold will come up for even just Malice, let alone the others. So I'm either going to have to purchase these books on Kindle or something. I don't think I'll purchase them physically just because, there's my head, lovely. Because of the size of them, they're books that I would want hardcover. I don't like holding paperbacks that are that big. And then that becomes very expensive. So I don't know if I'll be doing that. Yes, so just putting in the months. So for when it says January, it technically means January and February book. I just put the first month. I couldn't be bothered really putting January to February or anything like that. But this is also where I start to skip around a little bit and my camera starts dying a lot on me. So sorry for any glitches. But yes, I'm just going in, putting them in. I end up losing, I think it was September or it might have been June. And I couldn't find it until 2 days later, and I saw it on the ground. I'm like, that's where that got to. So then I could finally put it back in. So you'll see later on that I sort of close it with one missing, but that's okay. Okay. This takes a silly amount of time for me to do. But I don't know. I love the idea of book clubs, but I just have such a hard time with them, mostly because a lot of them seem to pick very new release books, and that means generally I would have to actually purchase the book, because to get it from a library, you could be waiting a couple of months before your turn comes up because so many people have put holds on them. So I find that really frustrating because obviously I want to read it when everyone else is because I want to participate in the chats. But if they're reading new releases, then I can't always do that. So I don't know. I would love to be a part of a book club. I would love to be a part of a in-person book club too, but it's very difficult given that I work nights to find one that will meet during the day. So here's hoping that maybe in 2025 I'll find a book club that will meet during the day. And yeah, okay, just putting in the last of those little headings. I do love the way this looks. I think it looks nice and cute with the months there. And then I do plan on putting my star ratings on the book covers. So once I put the book in and I've read it, I'll then go back over and put a little star cover on it as well, just so that I can show in another spot what rating I gave it, I guess. I don't know. I've seen other people do it and it looks very cute. So yeah, all right. putting on the last 2. There's May, 1 more. It must have been the October one that I couldn't find. That's why it's missing. Yep, that's me searching through for it. And then I give up my search and move on. Oh, dear me. Okay. Up next, we're going to flip back to the very start of the book because I cannot make this in order. And it's too late in the game to try and cut all this to be in some semblance of an order. So we're just going to flip all the way back to the very start, and I'm going to start setting up my year in pixels. So for my year in pixels, oh look, I'm going to put in a header. How good of me. As I was saying, for my year of pixels, I've taken a lot of inspiration from the Bibliophile at Night. I'm pretty sure that's Monica's handle. And she tracks a lot of information on her, what am I doing? I've got no clue what I'm doing. Playing around with camera. Cool. Anyway, she tracks a lot of information in her Year of Pixels layout, and I really like that, so I'm going to give that a go. So what it's going to be is there's going to be a square box for every day of the year, and I'm really hoping I can keep up with that. I'm figuring if I at least stick to filling it out weekly, then I've got a chance. But I've also got some other things to help me record that information as I go as well. But for each day of the week, it's broken up, or for each day of the year, it's broken up into 2 halves. The first top half of the square is going to depict how many pages I read that day. And then the bottom, or sort of lower right-hand side, is going to depict how many hours of or minutes of an audiobook I've listened to. So that way I can have both represented. If I only do one as opposed to doing both, then I will just fill out the box completely in whatever style. So if I've only read physically that day and didn't listen to any audiobooks, I would just fill it in completely. Or if I'd only listened to an audiobook and didn't read anything physically, then I would put the circle that I'm using, the colouring that I'm using, over the entire day rather than doing half and half. So with that, I'm hoping then it becomes nice and pretty in a range of colours, so that obviously I'll be reading or listening to different lengths, so there'll be 2 different colours on the one page. And then with that as well, I intend to put a black dot on any day that I finished a book. So also with all of that, hopefully there'll be lots of black dots on there to represent lots of books being finished. But basically it's just going to be, hopefully, an enormous amount of information in pretty colours. Here is hoping. Monica seems to be able to do it really well. I'm hoping it looks as pretty when I do it, and that I can keep up with it. So yes, we're going to be checking back in with this one, and it's sort of one of those things that I think I'm setting myself up for failure just because it's such a big thing, but it would be so satisfying to be able to see it at the end if it all does align and I do stick with it. So what I've done to help myself out with is, I've mentioned it before, but I have created bookmarks that I'm writing down my starting and ending page for each day. So that will tell me within that book how many pages I've read each day. And then with my audiobooks, they do sort of track a little bit, but I also want to get better at tracking with Storygraph. of where I start and end each day, which can be a little bit difficult because I generally listen to books late at night and sort of fall asleep to them. So I've got to like backtrack and find out where I actually finished. But, you know, we can't all be perfect, I guess. But hopefully that sort of helps get me through it all. And then obviously I'll have my storograph information of when I finish books as well. So now I'm just going through and writing in the day numbers. So starting with 1 at the top, going all the way down to 31. And then I go back in and black out the months that don't have 31 in them. It was just easier to do all the line work first, even though obviously I've made lines on ones that didn't need it. But yes, so going in with my black Tombow, I think I go in with eventually. And also on this page, I'm going to put my rating system. So I'm going to use the Corpal system in 2025. I know this has come under review a lot in the past couple of weeks with different people coming up with their own rating systems. At the moment, I'm planning on just sticking with this one just because I want a full year of consciously thinking about my books and my ratings. And then once I've done that and got a better idea of what I look for in my rating system, then I will create a system that works for me. I just don't want to try and jump into anything too fast. I still do allow myself a bit of flexibility of being like, no, I think this one is a 5-star read or a 4-star read, and then deal with it afterwards. But yeah, I wouldn't, for this year, I just want to try and keep some consistency and just see where books fall within that. So adding in another graphic from my Alice in Wonderland book just to incorporate that, and also use up some of the space. And I didn't realize that I wasn't really in frame. It's the hard thing about the B5 is how big that actually is when you're trying to show that on camera. So yeah, just give it a little trim and then put some tape down with my trusty tape roller and putting the Mad Hatter in, and then going in with the Corpal. So if you didn't know, Corpal was created by G from Book Roast, and from memory it stands for character, ambience, what's next? Writing, plot, I think it's intrigue, logic, and enjoyment, maybe? I can't actually remember. I do eventually go back in and write it in to help me. But the idea behind it is you rate each of those sections for that book out of 5. You then add that all together and then divide that number by 7 to get the star rating of the book. So depending on where that falls, if it's between 0 and 2, I think I've got it, it's a 1 star. If it's 2 to 3, it's a 1.5. If it's a 3 to 4, it's a 2. 4 to 5, 2.5. 5 to 6 is a 3. 6 to 7 is a 3.5. 7 to 8 is a 4. 8 to 9 is a 4.5. And a 9 to 10 is a 5-star read. So it kind of makes sense. Apart from the first one, everything goes up by 1 whole point. Obviously, when you divide things by 7, you'll get decimal points. So you just go within whatever it was in. And yeah, that way you sort of somewhat get consistent rating scales is more what I want to use it for. But we'll see how I go with it. So up next, I am going in and creating my 25 backlist books of 2025. So the aim for this page is I've picked 25 books within 2025 that I want to read, and these books have been on my backlist for quite some time. We're talking years and years. Like when I first started watching booktube videos, I got some of these books. So they've been books that I've been needing to read, wanting to read for quite a long time, and I'm making 2025 the year that I get some of them read. So I've created this little bingo board, just say 5x5 sort of, because 25 goes into that so nicely, of books that I want to get read this year. So hopefully that happens. Essentially, I just need to read 2 of them a month plus 1 to get them all read. So it doesn't seem like too big of a deal, but you never know. It's the hard thing with them is when they've been out for some time, they do get overlooked by the new shiny books that are coming out as well. So just trying to put a little bit of emphasis on getting these books read. And some of them I am doing I've put up a video of the books that I've picked, but some of them include some very old ones, like Vampire Academy. Like that's how old we're talking. So nice easy page to set up. Now we're scooting back through my pages and going back to this page, and this page is for my readathons in 2025. So I wanted to sort of keep an eye out on different readathons that I hear about and sort of track which months they're held in, and that way I can sort of have an idea of, if not this year but next year, if I want to participate in those readathons, of when to be prepared to look out for information for them. I find a lot of the time I miss out on all that because I don't see the announcement videos and things like that, and by the time I see them it's too late. So I just want to have a spot where I can keep track of ones that I know about that are coming out. So I'm just creating a square box for each month of the year, and then I'm just going to write in what readathons I hear about. I haven't worked out, and I didn't leave a box for this, but for any year-long readathons, certainly like the Year in Aldea or the Adventures in Aldea for the magical readathon I will be doing, but I didn't really leave any spots for anything else. But at this stage I'm also not planning on doing any other year-long readathons, I guess. Oh no, I kind of am now. Yeah, I am. I forgot about the Google Readathon. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't really leave a spot for them, but that's okay. I'll know for next year to keep some spots available. Okay, just going through all my headings to try and find the heading. This is a problem when I made a lot of these headings so far in advance and I was playing with the cut settings, so some of them are cut out completely, some of them aren't. It definitely made for trying to find everything a lot more annoying. So next time I do this, I will be just creating the headers not too long before I actually need them and just going straight into filming. I definitely want to be a bit more organized with my filming schedules and when I'm doing things next year and getting things out in sort of a timely manner. I know this video is coming out quite late from when I originally wanted it to be posted, but things happened, Christmas got crazy, and I didn't get around to doing these voiceovers, so it's happening quite late. I'm so sorry, but I still hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, just creating that. Okay, now we are moving on to creating a Dutch door again in my journal. This was really awkward because those sheets were sort of that stuck together set that you get in when it's gluing the sort of groups of pages together. So it was a little bit awkward to hold it open, but I'm making a Dutch door to create a list for my physical TBR. I have a lot of books that I own that I haven't read, and I just wanted somewhere to write them all down just so I can see how many are on there and like keep the motivation to read from my TBR rather than getting caught up in all the new releases. Like, yes, I do want to be reading new releases, but I want to make sure that I read what's on my physical TBR because some of those books are getting on to be like decades old. So it's about time I read them. And yeah, so I've got a lot of plans this year that I want to read some of those classic books that everyone read, like classic dystopian middle grade books that everyone read that I haven't read yet. So stay tuned for those sorts of videos. That will be good fun, and I can't wait to sort of go back into those worlds and see what I missed out on, essentially. But anyway, I'm putting down this nice wide washi for the header. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't actually create a title for this. So I don't know if I will go back in and put one in later, but I didn't have one prepared. So currently there isn't a title for this, but I can sort of, once you put in the info, you sort of know what's happening. So I'm just laying that down, and I do go in with a bit of white washi as well, just to secure up that little offcut from the Dutch door. I find that helps a lot to just keep the integrity if you lay some washi down over that flap. And now I'm just going in and creating all the lines. So I'm creating a column to tick off when I've read the book, and then next to that I will place a number and then write out the book. But you will see that I do stuff up the first one by putting the number in the column section. I do that a lot. It's just one of those things, you sort of see the column and think that you should be putting something in there, so that's my automatic go-to, and then I realise that that's not what I was meant to do, and good on me. Oh, there I go. I at least moved the book up so you can see it, but all the second line highlights. I have mentioned this before, but as much as I love the second line highlights, there are some pages that I definitely wish that I didn't do it on. Especially now that I have started using the journal, some of them are quite annoying, and I have taken some notes for my next reading journal as to which sort of trackers and everything really need to be done a different way, because they're already not working for me, and it's January. But yes, that's okay. We live and we learn, and I still do love my journal and I love the theme, so I'm still very happy with it. But going in with the every second highlight, and then I will be going in and putting all the numbers down, which does take a little bit of time. Okay, so we're just completing all of that, and then we'll be moving on to the next setup. So I've left, I think it's like 200 and something pages. It's over 250, but it's a lot of room, although sadly I will fill that. So I'm going to have to be actually selective of what I put on that list, which is quite sad. But anyway, moving on to my next spreads. This is going to be for my Kindle, Prime Reading, and Rereads TBR list. I do have also regrets for this page because I split Kindle and Prime Reading up into half a page each, and really I should have left my Kindle Unlimited as the full page spread, because there are so many books on Kindle Unlimited that I do want to read that I didn't leave myself enough room at all. And I don't plan on rereading a full page of books, so I don't really know what I'm going to do. I think I might go back and see if the lines match up, if I can move the Prime Reading over to the other side of the page and then just allow the Kindle Unlimited to be one full page spread. I just haven't worked out to see if I kept the every second highlight on the same structure or if I skipped a line, and that would annoy me. So we'll see. Maybe I can see it from here. Oh, I think I did it so that I can't tell if it's 2 or 3. I can't tell if there's if there's a 4 space gap or a 3 space gap. If there's a 3 space gap, that's perfect. But yes, so anyway. And then, as I said, on the other side is my reread. So I do plan on rereading the entire Harry Potter series this year. Apart from that, I don't really have too many other plans, except for one of the series that I'm in the middle of. I am rereading the first 3 books in that series so that I can complete it and read the novella and the last book. So I might just go and put those books in this just to fill it up a bit, because otherwise I don't actually know what I'm going to fill up all those lines with. Yeah, I really should have thought I went through a bit more, but that's okay. You live and you learn. So just going in and putting the headers down. And yeah, so the reread wish list, I think is what I called it. This was the other thing, by having things like split out, I kind of forgot what I had labelled things to, so I was left with this pile of headers, and I'm like, okay, which words all go together? So up next, I am going to create another Dutch door, and I'm going to do this over 3 spreads, so 2 Dutch doors, and that is to create my author backlist, hello head, sections. So in this area, I want to fill out some of my favourite authors, their entire works, and then start going through and reading through all their backlist books. And a lot of them have been books that are on my TBR and have been for such a long time, like Rick Riordan. I really want to finish all those books, and I've read 2. I've got a long way to go, but I also like the look of how these pages turned out with all the authors and all their books and series and everything. So very excited to slowly start marking them all off, but just going in with some washi to decorate the top of the cutout Dutch doors, and then I'll go back in and do the top bit as well. I am loving this washi tape. and I have said it before, it's from the washi tape shop. I really hope they come out with more sets like this, because it does make for really nice looking spreads when there's a few tapes to choose from and you're not just using the same one tape. I know a lot of places have sort of started to get heavily into like the PET tapes and everything, which is nice, but sometimes I just want things like this as well, where you just a nice simple design to do a whole series of spreads. So here's hoping that they bring out more. So just putting all that down, trying to keep everything nice and straight, which I struggle big time with. And then deciding to be extra and putting more in. Because why not? I honestly don't actually remember what I did for this heading anymore. It's been that long. I've been very slack with doing these voiceovers. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's right. The other good thing about that nice wide bit of washi was that I did have plenty of leftovers that I could use on other spreads as well, which was really nice. Okay, and just finishing up the last of the washi headers before I start to go in and put the header down. Now, from memory, I don't think I actually filled out the author backlist page in this setup just because of the time that it would take me. But authors that I have included are Rick Riordan, Jennifer L. Armentrout, Emily Henry, who else is there? I should have gotten my book out. Now I'm drawing a blank. That's terrible. Who else do I have on there? Gail Carriger, B. Schwab. Oh, there's so many more. And I'm just drawing a mental blank on all of them. Colleen Hoover. Honestly, that's all I can remember right now. But there is quite a few. Hence the 3-page spread. And I'm already on to that last page because some authors took an entire page themselves, which it's a lot. It's like Rick Riordan took an entire page. I think Jennifer L. Armentrout took an entire page too, because obviously she writes under a couple of pen names too. So I included all the pen names as well. And for like authors that have series and standalones, I put in all their standalones too. It wasn't just that I was putting in their series. I want to include everything. And then just fixing up that bit of washi to keep it straight because I cannot put it down straight. You'll be happy to know that I finally did get a corner cutter, so I will be slowly going back through all my pages and cutting those corners, which I'm looking forward to. It will just make it feel a little bit more complete. And I'm just going in and cutting out this Alice thing and putting that down. I think I put it up the top from memory. Oh, sorry, yawn. Oh. Yeah. And yeah, okay, so that's it for that spread. And then I'm flipping back through, putting my name down on the title page, which I have serious regrets, but I will probably end up going and covering up this page because I am not happy with how I wrote this. I tried to be nice and yeah, it's not great. So just doing a flip through, and then I noticed that I had a spare page. And that is because this was where my my physical TBR list was going to go, and then I realised that I needed more than one page and didn't come back to this. So instead I am going to make this my 2025 goals/intentions page. I don't know what I do with the decoration in this page. I wanted to use paper. I wanted to be crafty about it. It is what it is. I like the corner bits that I did, and then I wanted to put in a section of the book where the wording and the way the text is formatted is like spiraling down, and it made the spread look strange. But anyway, it's a pretty sparse page, and I don't know, it is what it is, but it's just going to be my intentions page. So my goals are to read 100 books, read down my physical TBR. I also want to review every book that I read. I can't remember what else I put on there. It's been a while. And I don't fill it out on camera. But yeah, I was trying to make sure that they're pretty achievable too. So, and I have left a couple of spots free just so that if I do achieve those goals that I can go and put some higher ones. So as you can see, that's the spirally section that I tear out and kind of awkwardly put down on the page. So, but anyway, this is the last bit that I was doing, and clearly I was getting too tired and delirious to really be watching what I was doing, and I don't know. I have since found other Alice in Wonderland ephemera and stuff that I would have loved to have had at the time, but I didn't, so yeah. Anyway. And just putting all this down, sticking it in. I know I'm having a few complaints about this, but all in all, I am very happy with my book. I do love how it turned out, and I'm excited to keep using it and to really focus on my reading this year and enjoy my reading. That's the main goal, is to enjoy my hobby and just allow myself to love what I love and record all the magical worlds that I get to experience in 2025, and share that all with all of you. And yeah, so just putting the last down. So let me know what some of your goals and intentions are for 2025, and if you have filmed your reading journal, let me know, because I'd love to see it. I love getting inspiration from other people, and personally, I love watching reading journal setup videos, and I can't wait to show you my setup for each month in here. I do want to start doing some TBRs. I did miss the January sort of TBR, but I do want to do one for all the other months. But if you have any other videos you would love to see, please let me know. I want to get into a regular habit of making book and bujo content, so if you have any ideas of what you would like to see, please let me know and I will get working on them. So I'm just cleaning up the last little bits of tags from all the tapes and putting in headers that I forgot to go back and put in, because that was silly. And that is my completed book.